what's up, what's good? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela Janae, and in today's video I will be sharing with you guys all of the books I have been reading recently. I had to skip my little monthly roundup the month of May, or for sure the month of June, because I just was not reading enough. I was in a little reading slump, but I finally composed enough books that I've read to come on here and share with you guys. As you guys know, I only read clean, Christian, closed door, and mainly that's only romance. So if that is something that interests you, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure your post notifications are turned on, because usually every month I like to come and share with you guys the books that I have read, and I feel like I have a really good set of books this time. It is from some new authors that I want to share with you guys, and I'm just very excited. So let's just hop into this video. So I'm very excited to announce that I received my first ARC. I just applied, and I was kind of nervous because I had never done the process before, but it was super easy. I applied and I got approved. These thoughts are my own, even though I did receive the book for free. I'm giving you guys my genuine thoughts on this author, and the author is Megan Rogers. I had actually never heard of her. I actually follow a lot of Christian Bookstagram pages. They were posting that Megan Rogers was looking for some people to join her ARC team, and I went ahead and joined it. And the book I got approved for was Love's Rematch, and this is a part of her Rainy Days Cafe series. I've actually never read anything else from her. From reading this book, I think I will dive a little bit deeper into some of her other books, especially the other ones in this little series. This book actually came out on April 30th. I am a little behind on this review. Please forgive me. I did leave a review on Amazon before it came out though, so definitely go check that out. So this book is about Max and Liam. Those are two main characters. I'm gonna read you the synopsis. Max is running, but is she running from California or to Liam? California didn't pan out how she'd hoped when she left her hometown for college 7 years ago. Now she's back in her hometown, Winterlight, caring for her elderly gran, living next door to her ex-boyfriend, the boy she's loved all her life, picking up the pieces of her life. Liam's heart has always belonged to one person, Max, his cupcake. Now that she's back in Winterlight and she's everywhere, working at his favorite coffee shop, living next door, he can't escape her, nor does he want to. He has one goal: to convince her for a second chance. This story is filled with love, laughter, nosy Italian mothers, townspeople, letters from Gran, grief, finding family, and facing challenges together. Trigger warning: this book does include grief. It's not an overwhelming type of grief, and they don't dive into it too deeply, but just enough. So if you are grieving anything at this time, it's not too bad of a read. In this book, you really dive deep into Max's relationship with her grandmother. You dive deep into why she left her hometown, and it's the second chance romance of it is just so cute. To me, the beginning of the book was a little slow. That's why it took me a little bit longer to get into it. I love their relationship. I love how slow they went, and it was just so cute. It was a very quick and fun read. Once I got through the first couple chapters, it was really good. And I love found family aspect. Once she went back to her hometown, she found new friends, and they were just so welcoming. They wanted to help her redo the house and help her with Gran. They had a lot of extra characters, but to me it wasn't too hard to keep up with. Sometimes when people have a lot of side characters, it gets confusing for me, but this was pretty easy to understand. I know that Liam had a lot of brothers. I guess the brothers may be featured in future books, and then the other friends are probably the books that's already out. As far as the Rainy Days Cafe, I really did enjoy this book. I would definitely recommend it, and I want to read more by Megan Rogers. And I know she has a lot of her books is available through the Kindle and everything, so that's the thing about Christian and indie authors. A lot of them are only through Kindle and the whole Amazon book scene, but I don't have a Kindle, so it's a little bit harder for me to do that. I did try to download the little Kindle Fire app and just do it through my iPad, but I don't think it was working out correctly for me. I might try it again and see how it does. Okay, so the next book that I read is actually not by a new author to me. It is by Judy Corey, and it's Assisting My Brother's Best Friend. This book was so good. I absolutely love Judy Corey as an author. I was surprised to see that a lot of her books are YA and high school based and for a younger audience, but her adult books are so good. I've actually never read any of her YA books, but the adult ones just hit different. So let me read you guys the synopsis. It says, I wasn't supposed to kiss my best friend's sister when I was a college senior and she was barely 18, and I'm definitely not supposed to kiss her again now that she's my assistant. Confession: when I received the wedding announcement of my best friend's sister Kate, I thought becoming a bachelor on a reality TV show would help me move on. Guess what? It completely backfired. To make matters worse, the show just hired her to assist me in getting engaged before the finale airs. Yeah, I didn't exactly propose to my final pick on the last day of filming. Kate. When I agreed to help my high school crush get engaged, I thought it would be simple. What I didn't expect was to be hiding the fact that my marriage was annulled after only 3 months, or for the chemistry between Drew and me to reignite after 7 years apart. My career depends on persuading him to propose to someone else. Messing that up for a man who ghosted me would be stupid, right? Let me tell you, this book, it had a lot of miscommunication, but the story was just so good. Like, you wanted to figure out why her marriage was annulled, but she wasn't sharing it with Drew. So she was going around lying, telling people she was still married, and she was not married. And once again, I love how the authors are doing it. You really get to see, like, behind the scenes, like, not everyone is getting engaged. And then this one has some drama going on that you would just not expect. So I really did love the build up for these two, and just the drama was there. The twists and turns were there, and they had a lot of things that shocked me, and I love being shocked in books and how they were forced to kind of work together. They were both falling back in love with each other real slowly, and they just weren't saying it. But when they finally did come together, it was so cute. I absolutely love this book. I would definitely rate it a 5 out of 5 for me. It was definitely a 5-star read. It was very enjoyable. The Megan Rogers book was about like a 4 out of 5 star for me, just because the start of the book was a little slower, but still very, very good. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to share with you guys is actually another new author to me, and it is Carrie Malley, Recipes and Redemption. Now, from looking at this cover, I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, okay, this might not be good, but this book was so good. The synopsis says, after losing both her parents and her husband, Erin is determined to make a good life for herself and her young son. She starts the catering business with the help of her marketing whiz housemate, never dreaming she'll ever find love again. Everyone loves Rusty as a friend. He's quick with a joke and a helping hand. If only he could find his way out of the friend zone. The only thing he cares about more than Erin's food is Erin herself. When Erin finds herself in a dangerous situation, it's Rusty who comes to her aid on more than one occasion. In this, the second book of the Chester County series, follow Erin and Rusty through a near-death experience, a surprising secret from Erin's parents' past, a trip across the country, and more. When I downloaded this book, I did not read that, okay? I just be going, I'm like, okay, it's romance, it's Christian, download. I don't always read the synopsis, so I didn't know that it was going to have so much stuff in here. That's why I really should not judge a book by its cover, but I always do. I'm really big on art, and I love seeing the covers of the books. It tells me a lot about the book, but apparently this one did not. When I tell you they had some tea in this book, they had so many twists and turns, and they had real life issues, and the way she incorporated God in this book was so beautiful. Like, she had me really thinking, and things that I would want to pray about, and I'm like, okay, what should she do? I was reading it like, okay girl, don't do that, don't do that. Like, she was facing some real hard questions, and she had to pray, and people were praying for her. So basically, the main character, Erin, is now a single mom because she recently lost her husband. He was a firefighter, and he passed away while doing his job, and she was left with a 1-year-old. So one of her friends is now living with her, and her friend is dating her brother. There's a twist with her parents. The secret she finds out leads her to California, and then she's faced with hard questions there about, does she want to stay in California? Does she want to become an actress? Does she think she can make a change there? So much was going on. And then there's also this beautiful romance, and then a lot of things happened to her that just shook me, and I was just unprepared for. But the story of her and Rusty was so sweet. To me, it was very realistic. I just love the way that it came together. It was very unpredictable. Even him finding his faith was so beautiful, realistic. He was a professor, and he had lost his faith in God because of things that has transpired in his family and things he'd gone through with losing his brother. There was a lot of grief in this book and dealing with loss, but once again, they did it really tactfully and beautifully and so realistic. Like, this one really included God in a beautiful way. So if you're looking for a really good, interesting read, I do plan to read more of her books, because if all of them are like this one, so interesting, so thought-provoking, and including God in such a realistic and authentic way, I know I'll love the rest of her books. So this was a 5-star read for me. I love books that just drop me into the world and I just understand everything. Love it. And books that also make me think. I really thought hard. Okay, so back to one of my favorite authors. It is Miss Toni Shiloh. So let me actually talk about In Search of a Prince first. So the synopsis for this book is Brielle Adebayo is fully content teaching at New York Public City School and taking annual summer vacations with her mother to Martha's Vineyard. But everything changes when her mom drops a bomb. Brielle is really a princess in the island kingdom of Oloro-Ile. I love that I know how to pronounce this because I listened to both of them on audiobook, which whenever you're reading something and it's set in a different country, it's so important to listen to the audiobook to where you can understand the pronunciation of them words, because I hate reading a book and I don't know how to pronounce the words. I need to conceptualize in my head what I'm reading. So I actually read both of Tony Shiloh's African Set books in audiobooks and the digital copy, so I was like doing tandem readings at the same time so I can understand what they're saying, and I like to listen to my audiobooks while I'm crocheting or doing hair and stuff like that. The straw by all the secrets her mother kept. Brielle is further left spinning when the Oloro Ile royal council brings up an old edict that states she must marry before her coronation or the crown will pass to another. Brielle is uncertain if she wants the throne, and with her world totally shaken, where will she find the courage to take a chance on love and brave the perils a wrong decision may bring? And to me, as usual with Tony Shiloh, it was beautifully written. I did not think I was going to like a foreign set book as much because sometimes it just throws me off, but I absolutely loved it. I love how she described palace and the kingdom, and it really once again dropped me in the world of understanding their laws and understanding the hierarchy. And I love seeing the relationship between her and her grandfather and how the grandfather was understanding that his death was near. And I've actually been reading a lot of books involving loss. They did it in such beautiful ways. He was just okay, and I love his relationship with God and how he wanted to rectify his wrongdoing of pushing her mother away and not ever meeting Brielle. So it was beautiful to see them come together, to see her forgive him and just want to be with her grandfather. I'm so glad that she wanted the throne, and it was so nice. I love to see and learn their customs, and when it came to the twist, I did not see it coming. I did not know that someone was going to come for her throne like they did. So this book has some really nice twists and turns. So for the second book in this trilogy, To Win a Prince, it featured her best friend, and the best friend is a fashion aficionado. She goes to the African island of Oloro Ile. Iris Blakely dreams of using her talent to start a sustainable clothing line to help citizens in impoverished areas and honor the country's resources. But when she discovers that Ikon Dailo, the man who betrayed her best friend, will be her business consultant, the battle between her desires and reality begins. Ikon Dailo has Dailo has lost everything: his princely title, his material possessions, his friends, and the respect of the fellow Olori. To pay his actions against Oloro Ile, he's forced to assist the charismatic Iris Blakely, but he can't allow his heart to distract him from regaining the status. Though they come from vastly different worlds, Iris and Ikon are both determined to reach their goals, and the only way to do that is to work together if they can just keep their hearts from getting in the way. Spoiler alert, Ekun was one of the people that was going against her best friend to take the throne, make sure she does not become queen. One of his forms of punishment was, of course, to strip his princely title because he was a prince. He was one of the princes that Brielle went on a date with to find a husband, but she knew that he was not the one for her. His punishment was to strip his title of being a prince and to go work for Iris. Now, Iris was working in the fashion industry in New York, but she wants to go to Africa and help the women there and create like a sustainable company. It was so interesting to see like their laws and how she had to have a board of all these people she didn't even know making decisions with her and for her, like a lot of the things she couldn't control. So that was very interesting to see for me, and I feel like I was learning a lot in that area because I thought you could just go and start a business. She had to get her business visa approved to stay there, so she kind of already had a crush on Ikun even when he was a criminal going against her best friend. So she was kind of like blindsided when he had to work for her. When it came to his title being stripped, his dad was really hard on him, and that storyline in itself just had me shook. I did not know all of that was going to come out. I didn't know why his dad was so hard on him. He took his money, his cars, all that, and I love the relationship of Iris trying to help him, you know, understand how to be normal and how to live and spend wisely and be a good steward of your money. That was very interesting to me. I loved Iris's relationship with her family and her relationship with God, and how she was really fighting between what her heart wanted and what God wants in his plan for her. I think I may have even loved this one more than To Win a Prince, and that's saying a lot, but I really did enjoy this book, and the audiobook was pretty good too. Okay, so next up, I finally finished The Roads We Follow by Nicole Deese. I absolutely love Nicole Deese as an author. Her books kind of teeter on romance and women's literature, and I love that. The stories are always so good. And it says, as the youngest daughter of a country music legend, Reagan Farrell longs to establish an identity away from the spotlight and publish her own small-town romance under a pen name. But after her dream is dashed when she won't exploit her mother's fame to further her own career, she hears a rumor from a reliable source regarding a tell-all being written about the Farrell family. Making matters worse, the unknown author has gone to great lengths to remain anonymous until publication. Reagan chooses to keep the tell-all a secret from her scandal-leery sisters as they embark on a 2-week cross-country road trip at their mother's request, and makes it their mission to expose the identity of the author. It makes it her mission to expose the identity of the author behind the unsanctioned biography. But all is complicated when she discovers their hired bus driver, Micah Davenport, has a hidden agenda of his own, one involving both of their mothers and an old box of journals. As they rely on each other to find the answers they seek, the surprising revelations they unearth will lead them down an unexpected road of love and reconciliation. This book was good. It had so much going on, so much history. It did kind of like time jump when it came to telling the stories. The main male character, Micah Davenport, was actually reading his mother's journals. His mother and Reagan's mother were in a country group together, and they sang for many years until they didn't. They broke up, and then they never spoke to each other again until Micah's mother passed away. Micah wanted to know what was going on. Micah also found out, and this is in the beginning of the book, it's not really a spoiler, that his father that he thought was his father, that he grew up with his whole life, is not actually his biological father. He wanted to become their bus driver on this little cross-country road trip to try to figure it out, get some details from Reagan's mom on who his possible father could be. He didn't want to disturb his dad. His dad was in another country, like fishing, doing his little thing after his wife passed away, so he didn't want to ask him and question him. He wants to kind of figure it out for himself. That road trip entails so much. They were going to different locations that was in his mother's journal. The last tour that his mom and Reagan's mom did together, while also falling for Reagan. Reagan was trying to keep the secret of the tell-all book and trying to figure out who could have possibly wrote it and what she could do to rectify it. So she decided that she wanted to write her own book telling her mother and her father's love story. So it was really beautifully written. It kept you so in depth in the story and enthralled in the story. You want to know what was going to happen next. You want to know who was behind everything. And once you found it out, the reveals were amazing. It was not who you thought it was going to be. It was very also heart-wrenching. Like, each sister really dragged you into their story and it made you feel for them, even though they wanted to appear a certain way, acted a certain way towards our main characters. Each of them were going through their own thing, and I could definitely see a book being written for each of them because they were really good characters. To me, the romance in the book kind of took a back seat a little bit to everything else that was going on, but everything else was even more interesting than that romance. So I really enjoyed this book, and I would definitely rate it a 5 out of 5 stars. The Tony Shiloh books were definitely 5 out of 5 stars for me also. The last book that I read in like June and July is Falling for Your Enemy by Emma St. Clair. Emma St. Clair is also not a new author to me. I love the previous books that I've read by her. So the synopsis for this one says, a month ago my identity as Dr. Love was a secret. A month ago I thought I was getting engaged. A month ago I was stuck with the guy who hates me most in the world. Now if I don't make nice with my #1 hater, I might lose my book deal. Without that, I'm not sure what I have left. But when I'm forced on a publicity tour with everyone's favorite guy, the guy who says I've won his relationship, I don't know how long I could go. At every stop, I get roasted and he gets more revered. You would think after a while I would hate him too, and you would be very, very wrong. I don't remember the character in this book's name, but basically a girl was running an anonymous like relationship advice blog, but because this one guy, she called him like Grandpa Gosling because she said he looked like Ryan Gosling. His girlfriend who wrote into Dr. Love was saying that he was boring, he wasn't proposing, blah blah. It kind of broke up their relationship, and somehow a picture of the guy leaked, so he became famous, he got a book deal, and she got fired. They were doing publicity tours together because she had one more book that she wanted to release, so they did a joint publicity tour, and she did not fly, so they had to drive everywhere together. And basically during that road trip, they fell in love and they realized they really liked each other, and it was just so sweet and cute. This one doesn't have any faith content in it really, but it is clean and closed door. He has a really interesting story with his mother. His mother was in show business. There was definitely drama there because he hadn't spoken to his mother in years. Basically just them going from town to town, falling in love with each other, realizing that they don't hate each other and they actually have more in common than they thought. I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good, and I love how Emma St. Clair always includes comedy in her books. I be really kikiing when it comes to Emma St. Clair book. So I think that is all that I have been reading recently. I do plan to hopefully get a little bit deeper in. It was hard for me to find books for a while, but I'm reading a few that are good right now. I just want to come and share these, and we're going to see what August has in store for me. If you guys are interested in a little bit more of behind the scenes of Michaela Janae, Everything by Maja, follow me on Instagram. It will be linked in the description box, and check out my other previous reading wrap-ups because I share so many books with you guys. So if you are looking for a new romance read, go ahead and check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in my next one.